So let's create our first stack in LiveCode, and you do that by going to the file menu, and then you can select a new stack, and at the moment I select the default size. Here we have our stack, and what is nice with LiveCode is that you can build something pretty fast. From the tools palette, you just drag out the stuff that you want. And the tools palette is divided in a couple of sections. First of all, you have controls that control the tool palettes. So you can say that, okay, I would like to have 2 columns instead of 3 columns, and then you have it in 2 columns. The next section, and here is where LiveCode kind of has one of its big advantages, is that you have 2 kind of pointers. And this one, the right one, you select that one, and then you edit your application. And then when you want to run it, you just swap to the other pointer, and then you run your application. There is no other step needed. So edit and run. The next section, down to the separator, might not be as full for you as it is for me, because these are widgets, and widgets are something that is written in a specific language that is called LiveCode Builder. And that is almost the same as LiveCode script, but the difference is that these are compiled. That means that they are converted into something that is much more machine code-like, and therefore you have greater running speed. And you can also use widgets to encapsulate native controls on the platform you're on. But these works kind of the same as the next section, because here you have the different controls that you can use. So if I would like to have some kind of list field, well, I can just drag that one out, and I can increase the size, set the size that I want to by just dragging in the corners. And if I go in the run mode, well, then I can write directly into this. So no coding so far at all. It just works. So I can drag out some buttons, and the buttons, these buttons, they look slightly different depending on what platform you're on, because they try to be, or they should be kind of the native looking button, unless you go to the mobile, because then they don't look native in that way. But anyway, these are the buttons. So here, every control, if you just would like to use it, you just drag it and drop it on the window. The next section is something that is actually really powerful, and that is dependent on that how LiveCode works. Because if you would like to have a rounded button, well, you can of course drag out a button and then change that to have rounded corners, but then if it doesn't scale that well, I should say. But these are mathematical descriptions. If I grab a rounded rectangle, well, then I have something that is rounded, and this will scale perfectly well on all screen sizes and all sizes. So it works really good. So therefore, I use these a lot, these 4 items here. Because if you like to have some kind of backdrop, well, then you can add, these are called graphics. Then you add a graphic, and then you can set the background color. The next part is also about graphics. So here you can say that the fill color, the graphic fill color, you can set the pen color, and you can set the graphic line size, and then you can kind of take this one to draw something. So let's grab this one. Let's, oh, it was way over here. So let's grab a red color, and then let's grab something that is a little bit thicker. And then when I paint here, you see that I get a line in the way I paint it. But it is fairly limited. You also have this one where you can kind of click the edges instead, like that. So these I don't use that much. And then comes a section that I kind of never ever use, unless I kind of create some kind of whiteboard, because then you can actually select all these via code, and then you can paint within your app without much problem. But that is the tools palette. You drag your controls out from the tools palette and drop on your window.